Hello everyone. I hope you've had a wonderful day. Welcome to my live stream. What are we talking about? We talk about money. We talk about money every single day. Now, the purpose of my live stream is to get you to understand money flow, is to get you to have a respect for history and economic and business cycles, and essentially to give you an ability to make timelier, more decisive decisions in regards to your personal prosperity. Now, some of you always say, I want generational wealth. Well, in order for you to have generational wealth, you have to be able to make decisions in which you do not fall into money traps. So the purpose of my live stream is to give you an alternative point of view, to challenge your point of view, in hopes that I can expand your awareness and your understanding of money, and that you fare on the side of prosperity. Now, I say this every single day: money doesn't disappear, money just moves. And if you're able to be dynamic and pivot with money flow, you can essentially have the prosperity, the financial success that you seek. Typically, people who do not move, you end up on the short end of the stick as far as the financial side. Now, I have a moderator. My moderator plans my talking points. What does that mean? It means my moderator sits right next to me. This is not a person in some other region. The person sits right next to me, and my moderator plans my talking points. So if you get muted, please don't take it personally. We just want you to focus. And if you get blocked, you didn't want to be here to begin with. Now, my live stream is very educational. It's very informational. I'm going to challenge you. I'm going to push you. Okay? I need you to focus. I need you to stay on point, and I need you to focus on money. Be objective. Please keep your preferences out of my live stream. Your feelings, your religious, your political, your gender, whatever you want, you normally deal with. Keep your drama at the door, and let's stay objective. Let's stay respectful, and respectful, and let's focus on money. Last but not least, we put a lot of energy into this live stream. So what I'm asking for all of you is to tap the screen. That lets me know that you understand me. That lets me know that we're vibing, and I can continue. Now, I have some serious talking points, and I need to make sure that you're following me and you're keeping up with me. And the best way for us to do that is by me seeing a string of hearts, because then I know I may proceed on to the next topic. Now, my name is Tara. I am a digital nomad. Welcome to my live stream. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I will be asking you questions, and at that point, please feel free to share your thoughts, even if they're right or wrong, because I want to challenge you, and I want you to have courage. Courage to follow money flow, and courage to change your financial circumstances by having a greater understanding. Now, I have changed the structure. We have changed the structure of our live stream. I will no longer be focusing on Wall Street. Okay? I'm starting my live stream off with Nigeria, okay? I'm going to be focusing on Nigeria. I'm going directly into a deep dive, and then the last portion of my live stream, I will tell people who are interested, one, how you can cut your marketing advertising costs from millions, billions, hundreds of thousands of dollars to close to zero, and anyone who's interested in a high profit digital business, how you can get that set up. That's the last portion of my live stream. So I want to be clear. I have two segments. The first, I'm going right into a deep dive. The second, I will be telling executive and business owners how you can cut your marketing and advertising costs close to zero by doing things a little bit differently. And for those of you who are looking for a high profit digital business, which is simple to get started, I will talk to you then. So welcome, welcome, welcome. Now, Nigeria. Nigeria approves a $652 million Exim Bank road package. Does anyone know which country provides loans to Nigeria? You're not tapping. How many people are here? Please let me know. How many people? Huh? I got 400 people here. If you're here, welcome, but you got to tap. You got to tap. I got some important critical information I want to share with you, but I need to see that you're engaging with me. Nigeria has just accepted a road package, import-export bank road package. Which country do you think Nigeria has just got approved to receive $652 million from? Anybody, this is your chance. What region of the world, what country is the largest funder, loan approving country to Nigeria? Does anyone know which country gives a lot of money and funding to Nigeria? Anyone? Anyone? Come on now, if you're going to be here, you got to work your brain. We got to work our minds. That's why we're here. Which country is providing $652 million in a loan to Nigeria? Does anyone know? Because if you're here, either you don't know and you want to know, or you don't. If you don't want to know, scroll. Thank you, Gary. Thank you, thank you, thank you. China. It's not close, but wrong. It's China. It's China. Now, here is one of the most intriguing, exciting things about this story. I'm going to be using history, and I'm going to be talking about current events at the same time. Now, if you don't know much about Nigeria, Nigeria is one of the most populous countries on the continent of Africa, okay? It's one of Africa's biggest oil producers. But Nigeria is a country of contradiction. It's contradictory. On one hand, it's rich. It's resource rich. It's mineral rich. It's a beautiful, 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 rich country. On the other hand, it's not. So when I go through this live stream today, I'm going to be diving in the nuances of why is Nigeria so contradictory in regards to money? And hopefully those who are watching me, I give you some insight and I give you a revolutionary way of looking at Nigeria. And I hope that Nigeria hears me, makes a few changes so they can see that their wealth magnifies, not just to the top, but everyone, almost everyone throughout the country, okay? Now, this funding package is for a road connecting a seaport to their oil refinery. Now, this oil refinery in Nigeria, it's big, it's state owned. Now, the first thing that goes through my mind is why now? Why is Nigeria now seeking funding to create a road from the port to the oil refinery? Okay, because this oil refinery has generated millions, billions, trillions of dollars for Nigeria. To me, that road should already be a given. This should have been established years ago. So why is it being done now? Now, how many people are on my live? I got 200 people. I need y'all to tap. I told you I'm going to stimulate you. I'm going to challenge you, and I'm going to rock you. But what I need you to do is focus and tap that screen for me, okay? If you can do that, I promise you I will deliver as I normally do, all right? So China is providing a loan to Nigeria, over $600 million, so that thank you, Deborah, so that they can build a road, all right? A road from their port to this oil refinery. That seems like a very feasible, reasonable plan. But you know, anything about Nigeria's history, it's a little complex. It's a little complex. You know, everything you see is not what is, and it's all good because it's based off of human nature, okay? Now, China has been providing billions in funding to Nigeria for power, for railroads, all different types of projects. China has been providing funding for over 20 years. Now, 20 years is a generation. That's a long time to be receiving funding for a country that is minerally resource rich. Now, this is a bit of a pickle because there's another country in history that received a lot of loans. And those loans actually put that country into a form of an economic recession, depression that lasted over 10 years. So in the next couple of minutes, I'm going to be comparing and contrasting the past to now. I'm going to take the country of Germany, and I'm going to compare what happened to Germany, and I'm going to compare what's happening to Nigeria. Because my hopes is that Nigeria understands that the path that is going on, receiving and accepting these loan fundings, is actually long-term detrimental to their economic prosperity from the top down to the bottom. Because when a country relies heavily on loans instead of encouraging, attracting foreign domestic investment, you are putting yourself in something called a debt trap. Is anyone in my live stream familiar with something called a debt trap? Now, some of you know this on a personal level. On a personal level, sometimes it's called subprime lending. There's many different terminology for it. But for a country, it's called a debt trap. Anyone in my live stream, are you familiar with this concept of a debt trap in regards to a country? If you are, feel free to comment, because I'm getting ready to dive deeper on how this debt trap impacted Germany and how this debt trap is currently impacting the beautiful country of Nigeria. Did any of you know anything about a concept called a debt trap for a country? Yes or no? I'm waiting. Hi, Amy. Welcome. Does any of you know anything about a debt trap? Yes? No? Maybe so? Feel free to share. The sooner you give me a no, the sooner you give me a yes, the sooner I can move on for this information. No. Yes. Hi, VJ. Perfect. Listen, this is really, really critical, understanding this debt trap, because it has long-term consequences. You see, when you initially receive funds, thank you for answering me. When you initially receive funds, it's exciting. It's exciting because you have access to money that you can do great things with. The problem is that if you are receiving money and you have not laid out a plan, a strategy that will, thank you, Zach, that will allow you to economically pay this money back, you don't accept the money. What I'm trying to tell you is that Nigeria is rich, mineral-wise, resource-wise, but there's a disconnect. There's a disconnect between how to leverage those resources and minerals in a way in which they can capitalize on it and have a return on investment that allows them to pay back this loan. China has been giving loans to Nigeria for over 20 years. They have not been able to pay those loans back fully and or at all. And that is going to lead me into discussing mismanagement, misallocation. You understand what I'm saying? Mismanagement and misallocation has allowed a beautiful, culturally rich country to receive loans from another country, and they haven't ironed out exactly how they're going to pay back the debt. This is called a debt trap, because if the money is being mismanaged and misallocated, that means the revenue that you're supposed to generate and the multiplier effect you're supposed to have within your economy is diminished. So you're always in a state of debt, which happens to people on an individual level, where your income does not align with the debt that you're carrying, and you're consistently in a state of falling deeper and deeper into poverty. So when you hear other people say that Nigeria is rich on one hand and not on the other hand, it's because that the money that they receive, whether it be through investment, whether it be through loans, is not being handled properly for them to fully economically, financially, monetarily benefit from the cash that's being infused in the economy. Does this make sense? Please tap the screen if this makes sense. Economics is very simple. You take $1. Hi, welcome back, trainer. You take $1. If you spend that dollar properly and you put that dollar in the hands of as many people as possible, what that's going to do is going to create a influx, a wealth of cash. It's going to create a multiplier of cash. That is the purpose of economics. When you take $1 and that dollar is spread and moves into the hands of so many people, it creates, thank you for the gift, it creates an amount of wealth that you cannot imagine. So what I'm trying to tell Nigeria is, by keeping the money at a certain level in your country, you are stunting the riches, the wealth that you could imagine, that you could amass beyond your imagination. I'm going to repeat this. Nigeria, the funding, the loans, the investments that you receive, when it does not trickle through most of your society, You are stunting the amount of wealth that Nigeria can amass and create economic booms within your country. So if you have access to $10 and only $2 makes it into your society, I'm telling you, if you put $8 into your country, the $2 that you're left with will turn into 20, will turn into 200, will turn into 2,000, because there's a multiplier effect in economics, in an economy, when money's being spent and is stimulating the households and the businesses of your local economy. Does that make sense, anybody? Please let me know if that makes sense. Please tap the screen of what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that there is a short-sightedness to this money flow. There is an intentional stunting that you are preventing your nation from stabilizing and becoming the rich country on all levels that you deserve to be. You have to stop with the initial cash shock. You see, when a country or a person is used to struggling financially and they get an influx of cash, they go cuckoo. They go cuckoo. They go cray-cray. I'm telling you, if you want to go cray-cray now, if you can pause and take a step back, the money that you will amass by allowing 80%, 90% of the funding you receive to go through your society, you will be blown away and you will kick yourself in the ass because you let billions, trillions of dollars fall through your country's region because of short-sightedness. All right? Now, back on topic. Debt trap. A debt trap is where a borrowing country, a borrowing country is indebted to another lending country, and it's often to the point where it struggles to repay. This is what happened to Germany. After World War I ended, Germany had to pay the costs of the destruction. Germany did not have the money to pay the costs of the destruction that they caused. So what happened? The money that Germany owed to the U.S., the U.S. said, okay, you owe me money. I'm going to loan you the money at a certain percentage, and you can pay me back over time. Now, Germany did not have a choice. Who was going to loan Germany money after the level of disruption and destruction that it caused that country? And it lost. So Germany had to do what it had to do. So Germany took a loan from the United States, in which they had to pay back the United States. It took Germany a long time to pay back that money. Now, because of the loan that Germany got, it actually put them into a very long recession/depression. Why? Because Germany's economy was not producing enough economic financial benefit for them to pay back that loan at a rate, at a pace that made sense. So if their economy was already struggling, destroyed, stunted, Germany accepting the loans from the United States put them in a financially dire situation. I need y'all to keep up with me because y'all went ghost. How many people are here? 280. I got 280 people here. You can't go ghost on me. Come on now. I understand. I'm pushing you. But I want you to see patterns. This is why I talk about history. I talk about history because it's critical for us to know that the answers that we seek to our economic dilemmas, you can go back in history. So when I'm talking about Nigeria accepting a new loan from China for over 650 million, when you know Nigeria is dealing with mismanagement, misallocation, some level of corruption, they're dealing with instability, I'm saying scratch, 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 scratch. Scratch, 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 and sniff. I'm scratching and sniffing. I'm saying, no, Nigeria, you can do this different. You can do this better. I want you to learn from Germany. You see, one of the things that Germany had a problem with is Germany had a level, they destroyed a lot of their infrastructure because of the war. Nigeria, if you can find a way to stabilize, because you're not dealing with the same type of destruction as far as what Germany went through, you have a better chance on getting on the bandwagon, on the ball, a lot easier if you looked at this differently. The reason why you're having to take loans is because your country is not attractive enough to foreign and domestic investors. Listen to me. You want to know why you need so many loans. You need so many loans because it's like a beautiful woman or a handsome man. When you have a beautiful woman or a handsome man, you naturally attract. When you have a smart person, you naturally attract. When you have a charismatic person, you naturally attract. What I'm trying to explain to you, Nigeria, is that if you actually allowed a larger percentage of the money that you received in funding and investment, and you actually built up your infrastructure and made the economy, the country look very appealing, very enticing, you would need less loans and you would have more domestic and foreign investment pouring into your country. I need you to sit on that. You don't need loans. If you knew how to do infrastructure and manage the money differently, money would be pouring into the country instead of you taking loans with interest rates. Tap that screen. Please tap that screen. So when I tell you that it's in your interest to use the money differently, you can go a lot further and amass a lot more wealth if you manage your money with a more longer term point of view. Because these loans that you're taking and these loans that you are receiving is going to stunt the growth of your economy. Why? Because your economy is not stable, it's not structured, it's not organized, and there's not a vision or plan that will allow you to fully leverage the resources you have to become cash rich. Nigeria has the potential to become cash rich. It's only because there's a lack of vision. There is a lack of corruption management. There is mismanagement. There is a lack of allowing the money to flow through the economy. And you have a population of hungry, ambitious people who are ready to get to work that can magnify the money you receive and put Nigeria on the money map. Money, 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 cash, cash, cash. Money, money, cash, cash, cash. The more you hold the money at the top, and it doesn't flow to your great large population, I'm telling you, if you really want money, let that money flow down to the rest of your population and watch what happens to Nigeria. Nigeria, if you really want money and you think the money, your $2 trillion, your 2 trillion plus GDP is a lot, let that money flow in an organized, structured way that's being managed with oversight and responsibility. Watch how much money will pump through the veins of Nigeria. You will lose your mind. Because that is what economics, that's what it does. You see, when you lift up more, you earn more. When you stunt money flow, you stunt your prosperity. I say this every single day. When you have free trade, you have a global economy. The easier it is for the money to flow. And the more hands that the money flows into, every hand magnifies wealth. Every hand that your currency touches in your country and outside your country, it produces more wealth. So what I'm trying to tell you, very simply, you are leaving money on the table. And when you leave money on the table due to bad decision making in regards to short-sightedness and greed, that money flow is actually going to other countries. Money will go in a direction in which it can prosper, it can thrive. And because of short-sightedness, you have missed out on economic opportunities that could have changed your nation generations ago. We have to change how we see money. We have to understand that money does not discriminate. Money does not disappear. Money flows. And when you don't understand money flow and you don't understand how it magnifies, your short-sightedness actually is a self-fulfilling cycle of poverty. And then when you have a self-fulfilling cycle of poverty, that naturally encourages aggression. It encourages conflict because you have the haves and the have-nots. But if more people had, you would be able to find a level of peace and stability within Nigeria to allow you to actually leverage the resources that you were gifted by the heavens. So what I'm trying to tell you is that you are shortchanging yourself. You are shortchanging yourself. If you can get out of your economic way and get an oversight committee who is responsible for mismanagement, who's responsible for corruption, the money will flow in like a train that's like on the speed of light. It will flow because that's how much richness, how much you have in minerals and resources that the rest of the world needs. Okay? Are you with me? So right now, Nigeria has over $5 billion currently in debt to China. Now, China has been loaning to Nigeria since 2002. That's too long. That's too long. What has happened to that money? If you're going to use it for infrastructure, you should have used it for infrastructure because you would have had a country like Japan pouring more money into your fintech. Yes, Japan has recently set up an investment fund. Is that correct? Japan has recently set up an investment fund in Nigeria for its fintech industry. If your infrastructure was set up properly, the roads were set up properly, and you had a good idea of what Nigeria offers as far as value, as far as minerals and resources and intellectual capital, do you understand there's a higher probability of Japan more than likely putting more money into your fintech? You are stunting yourself. You're tripping over yourself. Japan gave you a small chunk of money. I was surprised by, in my opinion, the amount of money. First, I was surprised that the money came. And then I'm surprised about the small amount. You could have access to more investment if you get together and start constructing and be responsible. That means you have to be a little patient, and the money will come, and it will come faster than you think. All right. So Nigeria, again, has been taking out large international loans. They say that the loans are being used for education. It's being used for health. It's being used for infrastructure. It's being used for tech and tech startups. Come on now. Come on now. Come on now. You and I both know we need a new narrative. We agree we need a new narrative, right? We need a better narrative, and we need a new narrative. We have to decide, do we want this money or not, Nigeria? Do you want this money, this prosperity, wealth? Do you want it? Because if you want it, you got to handle it with a lot more respect and a lot more care. How do you have a population and majority of them are unemployed when you know you have a $2 trillion GDP? Your GDP could go up if more of your citizens had a job. That should be a motivating factor for you to allow a greater amount of that money to flow down. If you think you're rich now, hello, Teresa. If you think you're rich now, I'm telling you, if you allow more money to stimulate your economy and got more of your people employed, creatively, having their own business, Nigeria would see an amass of riches that you have never imagined. Now, let me tell you something. Nigeria, it's good. In the past, Nigeria has been very rich. Okay, thank you for the gift. Nigeria has been very rich. They were a master at guarding and facilitating. Did you hear me? Nigeria has a rich past of guarding and facilitating. They helped facilitate trade between Africa, the Middle East, Europe, and they connected suppliers with buyers. So if you go back hundreds, thousands of years and to Nigeria's history, you would see that this is another great nation that lost its way due to internal conflict and for some hot pickle reason can't pull it together. Can't pull it together. On one hand, you say it's education. You say it's poverty. Okay, if you really want this money and you really want this education, why can't y'all sit down, focus on a common goal, get to that goal, put your ego, put your feelings to the side, and get this money? You want the money sitting right there. Why are you still fighting with each other? You're saying because of poverty. Okay, I just told you, let 75, 80%, 85% of that money trickle into your economy. You will get a return on your investment. Right now, you do not have enough money being pumped into your economy that will allow you to pay back these loans that you've taken from China and other countries. If you want to pay back these loans, that means you have to part with 80 to 90% of the cash that you're holding on to. You got to flip the script. Right now, you're keeping 80% of the money and you're putting 20% into your country. No, you need to put 80% into the country and keep 20% in your coffer. And then you will start to see a return on your investment and you can get out of these debt traps. Let me know if you hear me because you stopped tapping. How many people are here?
200.
I got 200 people. I'm weeding the people out. I'm weeding the people out. If you understand me, please tap that screen. This is really critical. People think during a recession that spending less will get us out of recession and get you to survive. I'm going to listen to this. There is a thought pattern that when the economy is cooling down, there's a recession. People think, I need to save more money because if I save more money, I will survive this recession. No. When you spend less money, you make the recession, the depression deeper and last longer. So what am I telling you, Nigeria? The less money you allow to go through your economy to the citizens of Nigeria, and the less you pump that money through, you're going to experience generational poverty because there's not enough money being pumped into your country. You have one of the most populous countries in Africa, which means there's a certain amount of money that must circulate, move through your economy so that your GDP matches. Your GDP has to have a certain dollar amount for your country to get out of a state of poverty. So if you have a high population, you need a high dollar amount moving in your currency through the hands of your citizens. Because once you do that, your GDP will grow. When your GDP grows, you get to tax your citizens because guess what? They have jobs, they have businesses. You think if you put the money into your economy, you've lost the money. No. You invest in your country, you invest in your citizens, and then they have jobs, they start businesses, and then you can tax a portion of their income, and it will be much more money than you actually put into the economy. Tell me what you think about that. And then that makes the economy of Nigeria look much more attractive to foreign investment. And then the more attractive you look to foreign investment, the more easily you get access to the money. You have researchers, you have developers, you have scientists, you have so many people wanting to flock to Nigeria because they see opportunity. Right now, seeing opportunity is a struggle because you have such a high population and a high unemployment rate. You have to make Nigeria look as beautiful as it actually is. Right now, people are not highlighting Nigeria in its true glory. It's true glory because you could have got more money from Japan. If you had your infrastructure right and you were actually using the money for education, you were using the money for health, you were using the money for infrastructure, you were using the money for tech, a country like Japan would have dropped a much larger investment in your fintech industry. And you would have had other countries coming with investment instead of loans. You don't want loans. You want investment. You don't want loans. You want investors. Your model, your economic model is flawed. It is wrong. And this is why you have other rich countries coming to Nigeria and Africa exploiting. Because there's something that is missing. Africa doesn't have to be resource exploited. You can learn how to leverage your riches and amass the wealth that you deserve. But the way you're going about it and the infighting is keeping you distracted. What are you fighting over? Okay, someone disrespected you. Okay, 100 years ago, something happened. Come on, guys. Get with the program. Get with the program. The longer you fight, the longer you're impoverished. The longer you mismanage, the longer you miss out on economic boom after economic boom after economic boom. Now, let me tell you why Nigeria is a contradiction. Why it's contradictory. It's rich in natural resources. It has a large population for consumers and labor. Nigeria has a large population for consumers and labor. It has an entrepreneurial drive, and it has rich agricultural land. Their GDP for 2024 was 2.5 trillion. That's too low. That is too low. Nigeria, no. 2.5 trillion for a GDP for a country that basically has natural resources that the rest of the world needs and wants. No excuse. There's no excuse. I said it, you heard it. Now, why is Nigeria poor? Anybody wants to take a guess? Now, I've given you some clues. Tell me some of the reasons why Nigeria is poor and continues to be poor. Okay, Black power, that's one. What else? What are some other reasons that Nigeria can't seem to get its footing? That's not the only reason. What else? Come on now. If you're here, you got to engage. If you don't want to engage, go to sleep. Okay? Go to sleep and scroll. What other reasons are Nigeria is rich and poor at the same time? Come on now. How many people are here?
190.
I got 190. People are dropping like flies. Good. You're here? Good. Tell me why. What other reasons? Black power, name one. What else? They don't control the resources. Thank you, Jean. They don't. Jean, that's another critical thing. That's another critical thing. And you know what? That's what I wanted to talk about with Saudi Arabia. Jean, you hit a point that I want to cover. I'm going to compare Nigeria now to Saudi Arabia. All right. I told you my life is complicated. I'm going to compare Nigeria to Saudi Arabia. Now, before the U.S. was invited and went to Saudi Arabia to help with research and mining and drilling, Saudi Arabia had a certain type of economy. When Saudi Arabia opened its borders to foreign investment in sciences, they did it in a very structured and controlled way. So before I went live with you guys, I was speaking to my moderator. How is it that Saudi Arabia, who is a heavily oil-based country, very similar to Nigeria, how is it that Saudi Arabia has been able to amass riches, infrastructure, foreign investment, domestic investment? I mean, Saudi Arabia is on the ball. Why has Nigeria not been able to do it? And Jean just went there. They do not control their resources. You see, when you have assets, some of you like to put your assets in a safety deposit box. Some of you go to a bank. You realize the bank has a vault. When you have assets, whether it be money, gold, cobalt, petroleum, whatever, you must protect it. For some reason, I don't know where, I don't know how, a spaceship must have landed and beamed a light over Nigeria, because they don't seem to understand you are rich. You are sitting on riches. Why are you not protecting it? Why are you not controlling it? Why are you not allocating it in a way that benefits your country? You have to ask that question. How much do you take for granted? You see, when you use natural resources, you must understand they get depleted. It takes thousands, millions of years for natural resources and critical rare minerals to be created. So if you're allowing your critical rare resources and minerals to be swindled, disappear, just magically disappear, I'm telling you something doesn't make sense. You're flittering away your riches. You cannot account for You cannot account for your blessings, your riches, your assets. That is one of the most big problems. If you can put a gate around that and get some oversight and some control, that would stop some of the hemorrhaging that's happening to Nigeria. Somebody has to take a step back and objectively look at this system, this construct. And there has to be a vision, a unified vision. Okay, Qatar has a vision. Saudi Arabia has a vision. Where is the unified vision for Nigeria? Because if you had a unified vision, long-term vision, that's beyond the next 6 months and your bank account, you would have a common goal that your whole country was working towards, and the rest of the world could get in alignment with you and invest. Because you do not have a vision like Qatar, like Saudi Arabia has a 2030 plan. They started that 15, 20 years ago. Qatar has a 20-year vision. If you can get a vision for the economic benefit of your entire country, which would benefit also the continent of Africa, because they would have a role model to follow. You need to model success. Saudi Arabia is an oil base. It started off its riches with oil. Why would you not model Saudi Arabia when you see the amount of riches they have amassed? They have an anti-corruption committee. They have a high profile. And why would you not model a successful blueprint, roadmap system called Saudi Arabia, called Qatar, called Dubai, called UAE? Choose. Why would you not do it? Why would you not do it? You think Saudi Arabia doesn't have internal conflict? Yeah, but at the end of the day, if we all agree that we have a common goal and we want to see our country have longevity and prosperity, you put the pettiness to the side. Yes or no? Please tap that screen if you're with me. I told you I'm going to challenge you. Nigeria is bigger than a few individuals. The history of Nigeria is bigger than the current administration or the past administration. And when you determine that Nigeria serves a greater purpose than what you can see over the next 12 months, you will get in gear. Next, Nigeria. The citizens of Nigeria are intelligent. You're not allowing them to reach their true potential because you're refusing to invest in your people. Do not second guess or undermine the citizens of Nigeria, because you will be surprised at how hungry they are, how driven they are, and how willing they would be to work on opportunity. Do you want to write the legacy of Nigeria in a way that is worthy of Nigeria? Do you want to change the narrative of Nigeria so that it gets back to its rightful glory that it's had if you go back in the past? Where Nigeria is today, it wasn't like that before in the past. So it tells me you've forgotten your history. You've forgotten what you do well. You've forgotten how your resources have allowed you to amass riches, alliances, stability, and prosperity. And I'm going to encourage you to go back in time. Because I told you Nigeria in the past was good at facilitating trade between Africa, Middle East, Europe, and connecting suppliers with buyers. They protected trade routes. Nigeria provided security, protection for trade routes. So you have all this pent up energy, right? I understand, because it's naturally in you to do it. But you're doing it in the wrong way. You're directing this energy towards each other instead of doing what brought you success, which is protecting trade routes. Let me tell you a trade route that needs some help: the Suez Canal. Instead of fighting in Nigeria, why don't you offer your long history of protecting trade routes and offer that to goddamn Egypt and the Suez Canal, so we can stop losing? And where? Canal?
Yeah, canal.
Whatever, canal. She's correcting me. My moderator is correcting me. Why don't you offer it to Egypt to help secure the Suez Canal? You have a long history of providing security and protection for trade routes. So instead of fighting each other, why don't you look back at what brought your great country riches and go back to what you're good at? Just because old trade routes have dried up, there are new type of trade routes that are available. You have resources and things available to you. Stop trying to do what you're not good at and start doing what you're naturally brought you success, and transfer those skills to the modern day age, okay? When you protected trade routes, you allowed high quality goods to make it to buyers and sellers, and there was production and there was diverse education. When Nigeria involved itself with protecting trade routes, it allowed for education, stimulation of the mind. Right now, you're too cut off from the world because you're focused on things that don't make money. If you're focused on activities that don't make you money, it doesn't make sense. If it doesn't make money, it doesn't bring peace, it doesn't bring prosperity, it doesn't make sense. So, what do y'all think about that? Huh? Tell me if you have enjoyed this. Because guess what? Anyone who knows me, I live streamed twice. My next live stream, I'm going to be talking about Saudi Arabia. So this live stream, I solely focused on Nigeria because I told you I am here to challenge you. I am here to expand your mind, and I'm here to get you focused. Whether you're an individual, whether you're a business, or whether you're a country, I'm here to help you understand money flow. Money is not avoiding Nigeria. Nigeria keeps moving away from the money that's coming towards it because of poor decision making, because of a short-sightedness, because of, I don't want to call it greed. I think it's some level of a lack of understanding. Somewhere someone told you, if I keep 80% of the money and I put 20% in the economy, I'm going to make Nigeria great. No, that tells me you don't understand money flow. You don't know how to manage money. And you really don't want money. Because if it was me, I would be putting 90% of that money into Nigeria, and I would see an ROI that just 100-fold, 200-fold, 300-fold, 400-fold. That's what you do. And if no one's told you that, guess what? You're welcome. Now, everyone, I'm getting ready to transfer over to the final portion of my live stream. Now, the final portion of my live stream, I'm going to be talking to people who wants to slash their marketing and advertising budgets from billions, millions, hundreds of thousands of dollars to close to zero. And I'm going to be talking to people who are interested in a simple, high profit digital business. Everyone else, you may feel free to leave. If you're ready for me to get started on the last portion of my live stream, please tap that screen. Please tap that screen. Everyone else, if you want to hear more of me, I'm going live in about 25 minutes on my other account, and it's Live, Love, Earn. If you want to hear my talks about Saudi Arabia, I'll be on about 25 minutes on my other account. It is Live, Love, Earn, and it's going to be equally stimulating. It's going to be equally stimulating. So if you think you know what I'm going to talk about, guess what? You're going to be wrong. You're going to be wrong. You're going to be wrong. Everyone else, if this is your first time in my live stream, thank you for joining me. I hope that I have stimulated your mind. I have pushed you. And this is typically how my lives work. Now, without further ado, executives, budget owners, business owners, let me tell you something. You are now in an age where you don't have to spend on your marketing and advertising in the traditional business way. What am I talking about? I'm talking about you have digital technologies that if you leverage the right way, you don't have to spend the money that you are accustomed to spending on marketing and advertising. Now, here's the problem. I'm not going to tell you how to do it because that would defeat the purpose of me. I'm here to add value, and I'm here to tell you, you can get close to $0 on marketing and advertising if you structured and looked at it differently. Now, how are you going to get this information? It's very simple. You got to go to my profile. You got to go to my website. My website, what I'm going to ask you to do, ignore the digital business. Ignore the automated system. There is information in there, education-wise, that you can have you or your employees master, that will teach them what they need to know so that you can get close to a zero marketing dollar, advertising dollar strategy. I'm going to repeat. People typically like to do what everyone else does, because that was the way to do it. You and I both know marketing and advertising takes up too much of your budget. And when we're dealing with a global recession, you're not going to earn the revenues that you normally do when the economy is growing and strong. So how do you add profits back to your bottom line? You add profits back to your bottom line by going into the details. And one of those details is your marketing and advertising budget. Now, you're taught if you cut marketing and advertising dollars, your revenue will naturally decline further. No. If you can buy food online, you can find dates online, you can order a car online, there's a way for you to do marketing and advertising that's really personable, that is human level, and will allow you to have different ideal customers offering the same product or service. I'm going to repeat. Typically, when you have a brand, you have a business, they tell you to identify 1 to 3 ideal potential customers. I'm telling you, that's an old paradigm. If you follow a new way, you can actually have different ideal customers in which your product or service can appeal to, which offers you diversification. It offers you a diversity of profits and revenue, and it gets you in alignment with a new time. Now, for those of you who are interested in a high profit, done for you digital business, there is a digital business that's high profit, which means you earn 100% of the revenue and you learn how to master a 2-hour workday. This digital business is simple. It's great for 2025, and it can get you on the path to earning 6-figure income because it's a high value digital product. Now, what's a high value digital product? A high value digital product is a product in which you earn hundreds of dollars off of one customer. So while you're trying to find 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 100 people to buy your digital products, you're wasting your time. You need to find too many people to earn a living. So when I say high profits, I mean 100% of the revenue. I mean 100% of the profits. I mean you get paid daily. Did you hear me? A digital business in which you earn 100% of the revenue, 100% of the profits, and you can have your online business up and running within 24 to 72 hours because it's an automated system. Where'd you guys go? Are you quiet? Tap the screen. How many people are here?
130.
I got 130 people here. You understand me? I'm talking money. I'm talking money. You've endured me for the last 30 to 45 minutes, so you already know I have a revolutionary way of looking at things. I've already established that. If you've lasted this long watching me, you know damn well I have a unique, out-of-the-box, revolutionary way to look at things. You heard me. You know I make sense. So when I'm sitting here telling you the billions, millions, hundreds of thousands of dollars that you're spending on marketing and advertising, yeah, I know you got a social media manager. Yeah, I know. No. You're doing it wrong. If you have to spend a lot of money to find your customers, to attract your customers, you're doing it wrong, because you should not have to spend money to attract your customers. If you're attracting your customers, you should be attracting them close to free. I'm going to repeat this. If you're spending money to attract your customers, I'm telling you, you're doing it wrong. You're supposed to be attracting your customers without spending any money, or minimal money. And this is worldwide. So if you want to know what I think, let me tell you what you need to do. If you're a business owner or a budget owner, you need to go to my profile, look at the digital mastery, make a decision. Then you reply to my email and I'll tell you what to do. This is not for you if you have a lot of employees. You need to have your employees master this. But if you have a smaller business, then this may be something that you need to learn. You need to determine the size of your business. If you have a person that can train, that can do this, then you can scale your marketing without spending more money. If you don't have a lot of people working for you, that's cool too. You can still learn and master this and keep that marketing and advertising, keep those profits in your bank account. Next, those of y'all, you're looking for a way to work from home. You want to work from home, right? You want high profits, right? You want a digital business, right? I got you. It's done for you. There's a roadmap, a blueprint to your financial success. There's no guesswork. There's no trial and error. There's no figuring out. You can hit the ground running following a step-by-step beginner blueprint. that will teach you how to master having a digital business with high profits and a high value, high demand digital product. Now, I got 3 minutes left. Let me tell you what to do. You leave my live, you go to my profile, my website's there. Check out my stories. You will see proof of real people who have their own high profit digital business, who's making more money than you can imagine online, anywhere in the world. You can be in Nigeria, you can be in South Africa, you can be in the Philippines, you can be in Malaysia, you can be anywhere in the world. Imagine earning a living in US dollars. So if that's something that makes sense to you, earning in US dollars and converting that into your local currency, my website has a plethora of information. And for those who understand the value of pivoting and change, check me out. For those of you who refuse to change, I can't help you, but I hope I've stimulated your mind. My name is Tara. I'm in Vietnam right now. I'm traveling the world. I'm a digital nomad, and I love money. Okay? I love money. I love solving problems, and I love helping people see new and unique solutions to problems that are in front of your face, and you seem to think that you have to endure. Okay, I'm going to repeat this. There are business owners, managers, executives who go through the day-to-day grind of their job and businesses, and you seem to think that certain things you have to endure, you have to put up with. No, that's where my brain comes in. So when you hear me speak about these articles about Nigeria, I'm here to cut through the bullshit. I'm here to basically shake your mind and say, no, you're doing it wrong. Why? Because there's a better way to do it. And that's the benefit of my mind. So I hope you've enjoyed my live stream. I hope I've added value. I hope I've helped you understand that money doesn't disappear. Money moves. And sometimes you can have an individual, a business, or a country get in its own way of its own prosperity. Thank you, Mike. I love you too. I also want you to understand you need to stop with the self-sabotaging behavior. You think because you can get access to debt, personal debt, country debt, that you can avoid doing the work. No, debt is not going to hide a lack of accountability, a lack of responsibility, a lack of strategic leadership, forward thinking. It's not going to hide it. You're just digging yourself further into a conundrum that keeps you from being on the world trading map and having the power and influence that you want. So if you really want this money and power, you want this stature and influence, start lifting up your people and you will get more money than you realize. Keeping people poor will not bring you the legacy or the glory that you want. I'm going to repeat. You think by redirecting, misallocating the money to you is going to build a great country. If you want a real legacy that people will talk about you for hundreds of years in the future about what you did for Nigeria, you should listen to me. You will be talked about for generations. If you want a real legacy, listen to what I'm saying, and they will be talking about you in the history books of Nigeria, about how you flipped the script and you turned this nation right side up and put it back where it belongs on the global trading field. Have a good night. I will see you all tomorrow. I'm going live again in 15 minutes on Live, Love, Earn. Thank you again.